Building your business was hard, and you only sell it once. With a focus on marketing, communications, digital, and service businesses, the TobinLeff M&A advisory team is dedicated to helping owners maximize and monetize their life's work. Welcome to the TobinLeff M&A podcast.
Hello, I'm David Tobin from TobinLeff M&A Advisory Group. Welcome. I am thrilled to be here with three of my partners, Mary McKinney, Roy Page, and Janet Tyler. We're here in the studio to talk about M&A. We wanted to make it official. We have our M&A and lights in the background. TobinLeff, we are mission-driven. Our mission is to help business owners, their stakeholders, to maximize and monetize their life's work. To that end, we work as a team to help owners with their exit plan options, to find the right pathways that meet and fit their objectives. Through our travels, which now spans 15 years, many of us together for 7 or 8, we have come to appreciate that M&A, getting M&A deals done, certainly it's about the numbers, the multiples, and the margins. But what we've experienced, M&A is truly about the people. To get deals done, to meet criteria that's important to owners. The numbers are important, but it truly is about the people on many fronts. From the advisory team you select, to how you communicate with your employees, to how you build relationships with prospective buyers. So I am looking forward to this discussion because we've all experienced how important human capital and relationships are. So with that, let's dive right in. M&A is about the people. We're going to talk about from the advisory team all the way down to the buyers and post-closing. Let's start on the advisory team. What does it mean M&A is about the people? Who wants to jump in first?
I nominate Mary.
So I think they pushed to me because my past life was as an attorney. I practiced law for almost 20 years, and lawyers can be a huge piece of this deal. When we meet our clients, they often have key trusted advisors that they're working with already, longtime legal counsel, longtime financial advisors or accountants, and it's important to meet them and bring them into the deal. But I like to analogize this almost to like working with a doctor. You're often meeting the general practitioner, their family doctor. And as it comes into an M&A process, sometimes that's a bit more surgical or requires some therapy, and you need to bring in the experts that are specific to that. So it's about meeting our clients' advisors that exist, making sure that we build trust with them, that we understand what those trusted relationships and those histories look like, because it is so important to make sure that people who know and understand our clients and where they've built trust, that we build that trusting relationship. And it's also important to bring in specific experts. For example, transactional attorneys who really know what it takes to get a transaction across the finish line, the areas to push that are really important, the areas where it might be more important to give, and how to build relationships with the lawyers on the other side to really get that deal done. So those are some of the key ways in which it's important to build that team. And then, of course, selecting your M&A advisor is important. So again, that's a place where looking for values that align. It is important for us to work with clients who share our values of always doing the right thing, and for clients themselves to be looking for M&A advisors who they trust and who they really want to go through a process with, because it can be a difficult process at times, and it's an important one. It's a really important one.
And then I would maybe couple on or add on that the team, right? I'm working on a deal right now where the client is saying that this deal isn't going to work if my team doesn't come with it. So let's not forget about the employees and the team that's going to come with the deal, and making sure that that's shored up and taken care of as well.
Yeah, and I would just build on that. At the end of the day, these are emotional decisions, and people are emotional. So we have to accept that and understand that everyone in the negotiation, everyone in the transaction is asking, how does this impact me? How am I going to be affected by this? And so, to your point, we are counselors in many respects.
Janet, you touched on such an important part, your team. There's members of the leadership team. There's the management team, the staff. In most situations, when do you advise that the owner brings their members of their leadership team into the fold, into the process?
I mean, I feel that this is true for all of us. As soon as possible is what we would tell an owner. And so if that is 18 months before a sale, possibly even better, get them to start thinking about who you want to sell to. Why are we selling? Is it that we want to add more services and maybe merge or be acquired by another agency? Or are we really looking for an exit? And it also depends on if there are multiple partners, equity holders. But I feel like the sooner the better. If that can't happen, then as close to the LOI as possible. I know a lot of agency owners might say, oh my gosh, what if people freak out? What if they leave? And I would say, well, if you wait too long and then they freak out and leave, that's not good either, right? That is a deal breaker. So we want to avoid deal breakers at all costs.
I think it's important too, if you're not going to disclose it, at least have a plan and a timeline for when you will disclose it. That's just part of the preparation.
Yeah, we can work, we do. We work with our sellers all the time on that because that's a big decision.
Well, we have a professional communications person right here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And sometimes
call Janet.
Sometimes I remember that, and sometimes I forget
I'll remind you.
So related to key employees, Mary, it's the human side, get them involved. They participate in creating the story, the value proposition. What about incentives to help motivate them?
Yeah, so most of our clients are services businesses of all sorts, and a buyer is going to be investing in the team and in the future of that team. So certainly the owners and what they've built, but a lot of this is about the future human capital, who are going to be the successors, and ensuring that they are, one, well compensated and incentivized to help grow the business is going to be important to both them getting excited about the sell, and then also them ensuring the success of any earn-out provisions or otherwise. And so working with our clients, ensuring to the extent that there are existing incentive plans in place that we understand what those are and the implications.
Incentive plans like phantoms.
Yeah, phantom stock or actual equity for the key employees to make sure that. So, for example, you might want to. We'll often recommend allocating up to 10% of the purchase price to the leadership team to really incentivize them to come along to help grow the business in the future, so they have real skin in the game.
All good, all good.
And oftentimes that's even required sometimes by the buyer to have that incentive. So better to think about it when it's under your own control and the timeline, and versus I'm selling and I need to make this decision on who my equity partners are going to be or who I'm giving phantom stock to.
And you and I had a transaction recently where both the buyer and the seller participated in the incentive plan, which was really great because that seeded the partnership from day one.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we were saying. When possible, involve members of the leadership team as early as possible. We've had them, as you mentioned, participate defining the profile of likely buyers, educating them on the economics. Being proactive is so important because envision situations where somebody walks in the office and they'd say, Roy, I heard you're selling.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you cannot be on the defensive like that.
No, not at all.
So continuing on the theme, M&A is all about the people. We as a partnership, we believe we spend a lot of time on helping our clients develop relationships with prospective buyers, taking the needed time to get to know them. Touch on that and what our experience has been on that front.
Yeah, frequently, often, getting them together, breaking bread, having in-person meetings as much as Zoom. I mean, everyone depends on Zoom, and we've all adapted to that. But there's something to be said about being in the presence of someone else where you can have this kind of exchange. Actually, this is kind of fun to be with you guys, and you guys not be on Zoom.
Yes, you're a real
really
person.
Handsome,
yes,
right, and attractive. But having a good agenda each time you meet, treating each other the way you're going to want to work together when the transaction's closed. All of that starts really early because as we know, there are a lot of moving parts and it consumes a lot of the owner's time. So the more time that buyers and sellers are coming together to really embrace the end game and start early in that process just adds to the success of the transition.
Yeah.
And that ties into allowing the needed time to get to know prospective buyers. When we, like most M&A groups, you're hoping you can bring multiple opportunities with qualified buyers, prospects to the table. What's qualified? Certainly their ability to fund transactions, but more important, their values, their visions. And that's where what you were saying, Roy, taking the needed time to get to know these buyers.
And then thinking about it at that next level or layer. I mean, almost every buyer asks every seller that I'm a part of, does your management team know? When can we meet your management team? They're the ones that really are going to be integrating. So there's a tremendous responsibility on them also. So it's important for the buyer and seller to get together early, but then they have to start working to figure out how they're going to include the rest of the team.
Carrying it forward. So our clients take the needed time to get to know prospective buyers. They pick their dance partner. They sign a letter of intent. Mary, take it into due diligence, that how we believe it's so important to develop relationships with the buyers, advisors, and counsels. Because if it gets rough during due diligence, which it does, they need to have trust and confidence in us and vice versa.
Yes. So the due diligence process, for those who don't know, I mean, after you sign a letter of intent and there's a general scope to what the agreement is going to be, there's a process of quality of earnings, really digging in deeply to the financials of the organization, looking at all of the insurance and benefits, looking at the team, looking at all of the client relationships. And it can feel really invasive. I mean, it's a tough process for sellers, and buyers are asking lots of deep questions. And sometimes things, we work very deeply to dig into our clients' financials. We do a lot of preparation there. We work with our team. And this is, again, preparation is so key to this process. But we work with our clients to build that relationship over time so they're prepared for it. And then it's really important that we, too, as advisors, for example, whether it's working with a private equity fund and those advisors who are working on the other side, or working with the quality of earnings, or working with counsel throughout the process to ensure that there's really trust built there. So we try to get in, if there's bad news that comes up, get in front of it immediately to really share that, explain, hey, this is something that happened, whether it's because these are ongoing businesses. Sometimes you have a bad quarter. Sometimes you lose a client. There are things that happen naturally in business, and being able to be open and transparent and honest and build that trust so that you can keep things. I mean, that one is important to getting the deal across the finish line, but it goes beyond that. I mean, it goes to then the success of the deal and the ongoing, to make sure that that's a deal that's built to last and one that's going to be profitable for everyone involved in all the ways.
Yeah. Importantly, while you're doing this too, I think it's just running the business like you would always run the business, regardless of a sale. Important. David, you taught me that, I think, very early on in my M&A career. And it's true. I just had a seller ask, should we redo our website? I think we should wait. I want to wait. And I said, why? Because you haven't sold the business yet. And if you want to reposition, this would be the time. Do it before we go on the market. Figure out what your message, your story is, if you're going to rework that, and do it as if you were not selling. But I think buyers, they have a tendency to, or sellers, they want to wait. Like, let's do that after, which to me, I think there's no guarantee that the sale will happen. So run it like you're always running your business.
And so relationships, our clients have their relationships with their clients, and they're nervous. How and when do I tell my clients that it's time to sell? If they have a strong relationship with those clients, it becomes easy. Right. Janet, how do our clients approach that? When and how?
Well, I mean, it's usually at the late stage after the letter of intent is signed, and we are really getting into a purchase agreement. Some financial buyers will want to talk to clients unless there's a clause in the contract that says the reassignment clause, which Mary could probably speak more about. But as an agency, sometimes we've had sellers that are surprised that there really is an assignment clause in there. So they are beholden to communicate with their clients. If there isn't, and we are able to wait until before the press, obviously, before anybody else knows, you tell your team, your staff, and then you move right to clients. And that should be, you hopefully, if you can do it face to face. If not, you're at a minimum on a Zoom. You're not doing this in an email blast. You are at least eyeball to eyeball in some way with your client. And ideally, you even have the person who's running that account with you, if you're not actually running the account and hold the relationship.
Yeah, and I know many of our clients, they'll also arrange meetings with the buyers. Again, going back, let's get to know everyone. And if you have that trust and you're open, and we're at this 15 years now, I have not witnessed, I cannot point to a situation where there was client attrition because of it. Most of our clients are in the messaging business. And the story typically is, we took time to find the right partner. I'm staying, the team's staying, we have more resources.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
You're bringing a lot more value to those client engagements through that transition or transaction, hopefully.
The client saying, what's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
That's where you started.
Same as the
Yes,
people.
yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So M&A being about the people, we talked about the stakeholders, key employees, the staff. We touched on developing relationships with the buyers, their counsel. Where else is it so important? Relationship building through the process to help assure deals get done.
I think first and foremost, as a seller, it's making sure that you make the time to sell your company. So we often work with sellers who, we have a buyer. Okay, I can meet with them in 2.5 weeks. Or so we really want to make sure that your team is cross-trained and that your role allows you, right, to be able to have the time to really engage in the sales process. And so that means developing that team, reducing the dependency upon you as the founder or the CEO of that company so that you can make that time. And I think that is maybe underestimated in the beginning of a sales process for our sellers.
Such a good point. And that reinforces the importance of bringing your management and leadership team in early, because there are going to be blocks on your schedule. People know when something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's the individual relationships, and then there's the group dynamic relationship. So there's the individual emotions and relationships with the individual leaders. Then there's the leadership team that has its own relationship. And let's not forget us.
Yeah.
We have to have really strong relationships. There's a lot of transparency between our clients and us. So the M&A advisors have to have really strong relationships, not only with the seller, but also with the buyer.
Mm-hmm. To that point, if I may, and this is, we learn how we've structured our company. As you guys know, on every transaction, we have what we call a relationship partner. The 4 of us are relationship partners. We have transactional partners that handle the numbers and the working capital. How often are you guys typically communicating with your clients during this process? I know the answer.
Daily, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice to have, we'll call him Chuck. It's nice to have a transaction partner like Chuck or Bruce who can really focus on the numbers. They can focus on the cash flow, all of those things that, quite honestly, I find stressful because, as you know, I gave up accounting early in my college career to move into marketing because there was no right or wrong answer in that. But having someone like that can focus on the numbers and moving the transaction forward, while I'm focused more on the cultural aspects, the relationship building aspects, looking at more of the qualitative issues. It's just a really great partnership, and it gives me a lot of confidence. I don't have to worry about that part of it necessarily. Mm-hmm. I have to know a little bit about it, but I don't have to worry about it.
And that's why we selected, when we were talking about our content, this topic, because our experience has been, if the numbers are going to go up and down, there's going to be financial terms. you can get through those challenges if the other side trusts you and vice versa, and if you communicate. That's why this theme, M&A, is about the people, not just the multiple. So with that, I know our marketing director said, keep your content to a certain limit. Any last closing comments on this subject?
Nothing that I can think of other than I think the deal doesn't work if the people don't come with it. And I think that's kind of where this all started, when this topic.
I think one is this can be a really positive experience. We talk a lot about the stress and the time it takes, but if I look at most of our deals, we've been able to get through those stressful periods, and at the end of the day, it really was a good experience for our clients and for us.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to do what we do. I have had the opportunity, we all have the opportunity to work with founders, second-generation business owners who have built and grown something and care deeply about it. And by looking at their expertise in their business and respecting that, and then bringing what we do to the table to help walk alongside them every step of the way, it's such an important thing. And I mean, we keep those relationships going for a very long time. I mean, it really is. It's a positive experience, and one that can be quite financially rewarding as well, particularly when you take the time to build those human relationships.
Great. Well, thank you, guys. M&A being about the people as it applies to us. We'd love, if you're interested, to just talk. We have 8 partners at TobinLeff. You could call any one of us. We'd love to, with many of our clients, the relationship started years in advance. So please feel free to reach out. You want to talk about the M&A marketplace, thoughts related to exit planning, just your business in general. Please find a partner at TobinLeff. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the TobinLeff M&A podcast, produced by Main Impact with music by Holt Vaughn. For additional resources, case studies, or to contact a partner today, visit TobinLeff.com, and be sure to subscribe or sign up for our emails to never miss an episode.